He has two. He has a twin personality when he was on the court. He
Mm-hmm.
could become somebody else.
Mm.
Now he's a piece of shit to tell you the lie in real life. To tell
In
you the
real
truth,
life, yeah. His real
yeah,
life,
he
yeah,
is.
yeah,
Yeah, but when he gets on there, that part of him becomes a warrior. He would have probably been one of the people that I fought next to.
Whew.
Kind of person he is.
Right, right.
He's lethal. He's lethal in his thinking. And if he was like a warrior,
Uh-huh.
he'd be lethal.
Uh.
He'd be lethal. He wouldn't have any remorse.
Amazing. All right. Somebody, and shout out to once again everybody who gave a super chat, Cheryl and everybody else. I appreciate it.
Mhm.
Everybody who donated tonight. Let
Beautiful.
me ask this one. I have a question about putting the dead in diamonds
Ha!
because you use the energy to tap into the ancestors.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how they do that with. I mean, of course, you can. It's like a copy, a more modernized copy of the ancient Kemetic funerary rites,
Hmm.
because they used to preserve their people for the next life, for the afterlife. If you put them in a diamond, you're actually ending up giving them their last destination in the physical flesh, because what you've done is you've trapped their energy. That's why people take the ashes and they just scatter it into nature
Hmm.
so that the person is freed. Actually, the idea is that that carbon, that the essence is freed to go back into nature, to come back through nature. But if you put them into a diamond, you're actually solidifying them and not allowing that passage to me, because I know what a diamond is. It's nothing more than carbon to another level. And so if you freeze that carbon, it's like you now creating an avatar around that energy. In other words, your physical body would be the diamond of your soul, so to speak. So if you take if I burn this down to its ashes and then do something to compress it into a diamond, I have not allowed it to go back into nature. I've given it a final. I've given his body a final place that it's going to be forever.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
They want to know, Doc, that this is a common question with your webinars. Will there be a replay for the webinar if people can't make it?
I'm thinking about it because I'm right now, my whole thing is my wife and helping her to heal, and I'm going to be going through a radical purification for myself. I've been neglecting myself and taking care of everybody else, and so that's been very, very heavy on me. But I will, and I would, with the grace, of the Most High, and with your help, I'll think of a time, probably maybe in February or March. I'll do a repeat.
Mhm.
I'm not sure. Probably in February, because there's a lot going on that that's private to me, and I don't want to be going crying the moody blues to anybody else. But the truth is coming out. It's going to be coming out all over. It's going to sound familiar to a lot of people who's been in the metaphysical underground, because all they're going to be doing is catching up to everything that we've been telling everybody about. So just strap in and just be prepared. Get yourself prepared, because it's going to be a rough ride. Even though there's going to be a lot of people that's going to come out to be multimillionaires, even billionaires this year coming. And the main thing right now is for you to make sure that you're prepared spiritually, physically for that journey, because they're going to start tapping into the water. They're already starting to attack your organic food. Your
Yeah.
boy, your
Bill
boy,
Gates.
yeah,
You
your
think
boy
about
Gates is messing with even the organic foods.
apple cider vinegar.
Indeed, you're gonna have to deal with your with the tower gardens that we have, and you have to grow your food inside the house at this time, and sometimes right around your own garden. It's going to come down to that. It's going to come down to you having food and extra water, ways to light, dealing with solar energy. Right now, to deal with this segue towards 2020, 30 and 2050. What happens by the time 2030 comes around will dictate what 2050 will look like.
Mhm.
And there's going to be a whole lot of inventions that they had for the last 100 years, 200 years coming out that's supposed to fascinate you. Don't believe the hype about them going to Mars. There is no Mars. The only place they're going to is under or out of the dome and into other domes or other realities that exist on this flattened plane. They're going to come with the crap. They're going to come with the garbage. They're going to tell you about, and you're going to see Jesus is going to be on a cloud. And they've been doing Project Bluebeam all around. They've been calling me up, hey, bro, Dr. Val, you see that thing? That thing in the air and so, but they're messing with your brain. All of that is optics, technological optics that they're setting up. They need to pretend that they are God. And to get you to do that, they're going to put on a gigantic light show to make sure you think that the gods that you've been worshiping all this time was real. It's not. They created the gods. In fact, they destroyed the gods you worship, which were more connected to nature, and they put their God in the place. All right? In your religions, in your ways of thinking, even the devil was redeemed.
Mm.
Even Satan was redeemed. In fact, there's a book out called The Sorrows of Satan. Satan's is sick and tired of humanity taking up all the things, all the weird and the sickness and all the debauchery and all of the type of pedophilia and all this kind of crazy stuff. Satan is saying, well, when y'all gonna be done with this so I can leave? I can be, I want to retire.
Oh shit. Satan wants to retire, guys.
Yeah. He's only here to give you what you want on that level.
Oh man.
Okay, so everybody said, well, the devil made me do it. That made you do shit. You are the one who did it. You are the God that determines. And only your fear, and that's what they play on. Your fear makes you do crazy things.
Last question, y'all. Then we got to get out of here. Don't want to keep Doc too late. Um, this is from Cheryl. Cheryl wants to know, Doc, when we pray, is it necessary to give a name to who or what one perceives as God? If so, do we give a name based upon one's language? Great question, Cheryl.
Beautiful question.
Great
Okay,
question.
unless you hear the name of God that you hear from you during the time of your deepest meditation, when the darkness speaks to you, then you will understand what your avatar was created for and what it is that the Most High had as your purpose. And you will definitely know the name because you will have tapped into the area code of the darkness.
Mm.
Most people don't know the area code, they just tap numbers. That's why Brother King Simon is so important. Brother Roy Strayhorn is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Those numbers, what you deal with in the temporal level is all number.
Mm-hmm.
The way numbers come together and create lines, and the way lines create forces, or they engender forces, and what they call, geometry, geometry. What is geo? Geo is earth, metric, the metric of the earth, or what is matter and how you formulate it. So, yes, the name will come to you, and whatever name, and sometimes it doesn't come to you in meditation, it comes to you in sleep when you have no connections to your senses. And so when you go into meditation, don't speak of anything. You're going in there as a pure person, a pure entity of light. Just see yourself as a spark without any name. Go in there bare, because all of this is an illusion. All of this is illusory, and we are caught up. We are so steeped in it that we cannot relieve ourselves from it. We can't defecate what this life has imbued us with. We're so stuffed with sensory crap that we can't release it, because the body is now enslaved you, and your observer no longer works because it's been co-opted by the thoughts that they put into your head. So when your observer can actually can know the difference between your thoughts and your spirit, you'll understand that your thoughts are artificial. They're based in time. In fact, thought is time.
Mm-hmm.
So when you understand that thought is the fifth element, and you begin to understand that that does not exist, it's like a tree. It's like this thing here. It's temporal. It's trapped in temporal. So if you get into thought, you're trapping yourself in temporality. So when your thoughts are no longer existing, you become prevalent in that exchange with the darkness.
I thought ether was the fifth element.
No, Ether is the medium wherein time
Okay.
operates.
Okay.
You see, a lot of people say ether, that's to throw you off. Without time, nothing exists
Mm.
in the physical realm, because all that exists in the physical realm has a terminal point. There's a beginning, there's a maturity, and then there's an end, and then it goes back again and beginning. So everything is temporal here. So in order for that to happen, how am I like this? Where did this come from?
Mm.
Time.
Mm.
So time is essentially a loop that creates and allows the four elements, the fire, air, water, and earth, which is the WORD of God. When you understand how that works, then you'll understand that the time is the cohesive element that allows the elementals to form the desire of the Most High.
Mm. Mm.
Okay, the Most High is will. The whole universe is will. And
Mm.
so when you understand that, then you understand how the darkness works. Everything coming out of the darkness is universal will. How we participate in the will is what we will become.
Mm. Love it. What a way to end. Family is going down next Sunday. Let me put this flyer on the screen one last time.
Mhm.
Woo! What a show tonight, y'all. What a show. What a show. Let me where did this flyer go? Give me one time. Anything else you want to leave the family? Any contact info you want to leave them with before we get out of here?
Yes, just the 800 number, 847-1291, 800-847-1291. And I probably will be starting my university in spring, sometime in March or April. So if you are interested, go up to my website at uksnow.org, click where it says registration, and fill out the form. The other thing is, if you're having a problem getting into, because I've been getting some calls back, or some people calling back saying that they're having a problem registering for the webinar. If
Mhm.
you're having a problem with the webinar, just send.
Get started. Welcome, my brother.
Thank you. Good to be here.
I want to start out, Doc, real quick. I want to put I am intentional, family, about supporting Dr. Valentine. And if you know, every time he comes on here, I make sure you'll support the brother. He has done more than I mean, he has done more than I don't know what word to use. He's done a lot for this community. So when it comes to Dr. Valentine and us supporting our elders and making sure that they enjoy their life down here to the best of their ability, because we know what's going on. I want Dr. Valentine to be a living example of that. I want us to say, we took care of Dr. Valentine. He took care of us. I remember being young, watching his tape, changing my life, and me selling his tapes in Brooklyn, and he changed my life more ways than he could imagine. So I'm returning the favor, and I told him I got his back for the rest of his time here on this earth. So, family, by the end of the show, I want Doc to tell me, Rich, they took care of me. So we're gonna have a different show. We're gonna take calls from the people, from the family. But like I said in the beginning, I want y'all to make sure y'all take care of Doc. He's one of our elders from that golden era, and there's not too many from his era still around. So yeah, we're gonna start the show off like that on a appreciative a vibe of showing gratitude to Doc. Before we get to the questions from the people, Doc, I want to ask you about two questions. I remember you used to do the black news back in the day. Remember you always did the black news.
Oh
So
yeah,
just two questions about some of the current events going on. We want to get Dr. Valentine's take on it. First one being, and you talk about the banks, and you've told us about the cryptos, the XRP, the XLM. You told us about Glint buying gold, and you told us about Novatech. You have been very useful to us in terms of finances, my brother. I want to ask you, all these countries abandoning the US dollar. What do you China and all of this stuff? They want to ban TikTok now. I mean, it's looking real shaky for the US. I want to ask you about that, and I also want to ask you about Trump getting indicted. So we can start out like that. Give it what's up
sure.
with that, my brother?
Well, if you want to start with the banks, we've
Yes.
spoken about the fact that the U.S. dollar was actually supported by oil all this
Mm-hmm.
time. They
Mm-hmm.
had struck a deal with Saudi Arabia back when Rockefeller went over there. Rockefeller was the one who actually started, and because most of the oil was actually mined from the United States, which is what Trump returned to during his tenure in office, and that's
Mm.
why we were essentially energy independent at that time. But
Okay.
those who essentially are working for Rockefeller and for the deep state knew that they could actually support the warfare to destroy the United States by making us more dependent on foreign oil. So
Mm.
what they did essentially was to destroy the gas pipeline, which essentially fed and was part of what was helping Europe and NATO. And it's a lot of convolutions because remember, all wars are fought between secret societies. They're not fought against nations. They're fought
Right.
with power brokering and power structuring for the secret societies. So what you're looking at is the destruction of the dollar, which actually started when Nixon took us off the gold standard
Mm-hmm.
and put us on the oil, which essentially allowed us during World War II to become the superpower because they forced our dollar to be used in every purchase of oils and significant other products. And that gave us the strength to build a super war machine. And so what happened at that point, the dollar itself was just something that didn't have any backing. And because it didn't have any backing, those who were controlling the dollar could print as much as they wanted. Now,
Mm.
this is what you're watching with the current administration in place. You're watching a hyperinflation taking place based upon the printing of whatever dollars was necessary to buy off or to do whatever was necessary outside of what the people would actually have a say in. And so, what you're looking at also is that to cover that, you have to raise the taxes in order to pay off debts that would come with flooding the market with the dollar and making the dollar useless. Now, what's happening is this is being purposely done. It's an orchestration. The United States has been under attack for, I'd say, for the last 40 years, 30, 40 years. And there was a 16-year plan in place, starting with Obama taking two terms, which was again 8. The other two terms were supposed to be Hillary Clinton, which was supposed to take us into war at least 4 years sooner, 3 or 4 years
Mm.
sooner. And so what happened, they had to fast track everything. This is why you see everything happening so fast because Trump came in and he was like the fly in the ointment. He wasn't supposed to be in. And what
Mm.
he did was he began dialing back the plan that began with Obama's administration to get us into war and to undermine and destroy the United States from within. So everything that you're watching, the destruction of our language or the language we've been using, destruction of
Mm-hmm.
family first when they destroyed the what do you call it, the authority of the masculine principle here, and then that began to be the destruction of the family, and then from that we began to invite more and more, say, and of course I have to be very delicate with what I'm speaking about because of where we are. We began to to introduce perversity
Mm.
as a common reality for our children and a
Mm-hmm.
common reality for our working place, the family, and so forth.
Mm.
Then with the attack on the economy. And of course, I'm giving you pieces of how the war is being prosecuted. I remember doing a program a long time ago there with you. I believe it was in Brooklyn, where I talked about asymmetric warfare.
Yes.
And asymmetric warfare is the attacks and the strategy and the tactics are based upon a multi-vectored strategy of attack. We'll
Mm.
attack the children. We'll attack the education system. We'll
Mm-hmm.
attack the economy. We'll attack the sanctity of marriage. We'll attack the very meaning of language itself, and so forth. We'll attack everything that was the basic comfort and infrastructure that pulls a nation together and strengthens a nature at its foundation. They got rid of that. And what you're seeing is an erosion of morality, an erosion of ethics, an erosion of justice. So now that brings us to the point where uh, the people who are fighting the deep state in different countries, like Trump, like Putin, like Z. Most people think that these peoples are enemies, but they're not. The deep state is was essentially rampant in all of the different countries. Argentina, every place that you're looking at, the deep state or what you call the Illuminati are in those governments. They're all over, and they were the ones that were controlling the economies of all the countries you see around the world through the IMF, through the central banking systems all around the world. They were the ones controlling everything. So now what you're seeing is a war against this kind of totalitarian government and those who are the agents of that particular government, like you see the not the president but the resident who have taken over.
Resident.
Yeah, who's actually stole the election
Mm.
because everybody hating on Trump, calling him a racist and all 9 yards, not realizing that Trump was dialing back everything that the deep state was doing. Now, you said the banking system.
Mm.
They have to undermine and destroy the dollar. Meanwhile, if you're looking at what's going on around the world, China, Russia, and what we call BRICS nations are all buying gold. They're buying enormous amount of gold. I'm talking China
Wow.
is stocked up on gold. They're cornering the market on gold for a reason. So now that they're undermining the oil dollar, which is because we are not on the oil dollar at all. I mean, we're on the oil dollar, and we came off of the gold dollar. There is legislation now in the United States Congress, which is being blocked by the Democrats because they're part of the machine that wants to destroy the United States. There's a bill on tap right now to bring the dollar back on the gold standard, but they have this debt that can be easily taken care of if they allow Ripple and XRP to be the liquidity necessary for us to pay off the debt that the dollar had created. But they don't want to do that. That's why you see there is this court case that's delaying the ability for XRP to be used as the liquidity for our central bank. I'm not talking about the central bank of the bankers. I'm talking about the Treasury of the United States, not the United States Treasury. There's a difference. United States Treasury, all capitals, that belongs to the deep state. The Treasury of the United States, upper and lowercase, that belongs to us. That's the people's treasury. And
Okay.
that's where they took us off. They took that from us. So now what you're looking at is the war that the deep state needs in order to maintain control. Remember,
Mm.
every time there is every 72 years, the international bankers crash the economy to build it back up again, and they do that by segmenting us into a war.
Mm.
War begins to regenerate everything. It's the destruction construction mentality. They
Okay.
need that destruction construction constant. That's what capitalism needs. It needs a war. So the reason why they need that war is because the war machine that's being built up that you see being sent over to the Ukraine right now. That's a
Mm.
necessary component for them to maintain their fiscal as well as military control and the particular system that's in place at this time that belongs to the 12 families.
Mm.
And I'm not talking about Rockefeller and Rothschild. These people are nothing more than administrators. The real ones that was behind the scenes go all the way up into the Pope and into the Vatican. So
Mm.
what we're looking at right now is a change for them to maintain or get the control that they need. They need to first of all kill off most of the population, at least 1 to 2 billion people. That's the next. That's the phase we were talking about. The
Mm.
we can't talk about that which we can't talk about. They started that
Mm.
genocidal process. The next thing they have to do is to cause a war so that destruction is in the place. The war could be overt with bombs, or it could be subverted using the destruction of the energy grid, for example,
Mm.
bringing down power, destroying communications, or putting their agents in there to make sure that certain narratives are forwarded to the people and they keep them, essentially docile. So just to wrap this particular part up, uh, caused such a crash in the dollar, caused such mayhem, which is getting ready to happen, We're not talking
Mhm.
about a repression or a depression. We're talking a complete collapse, which is
Mm.
why I've been telling people for how long, you said the last 5 years, 6 years, how to get prepared and how to get their monies off of the grid and onto private enterprises like the Glint, like buying gold. I'm talking gold that you could keep, like buying your weapons to protect whatever you have for you and your family, like buying at least a year's amount of food, like buying generators for you to be able to use generators that you can use, that you can power up using solar energy. These are the ways that you can manage those particular those pause in the times when chaos completely topples everything. Now they're going to start dealing with the digital dollar and the digital bank dollar. That's what they want to do. Put us online, chip us, and then you every card process that you take, everything that you buy, will be able to know. And if you don't say the right things, or if you just make a mistake and say the wrong things, like they did in Canada to shut down the truckers, couldn't get into your bank account.
Right,
This is
right.
what this is what the United States is fighting right now, because everything that the deep state through the World Health Organ, the World Economic Forum, the WEF, with Klaus Schwab and the rest of those maggot vermin, they're the ones who want to bring in the new world order and put us onto the AI. And if you were there at the last webinar, I told you that the thing that you were taking was putting in certain nano energies, we're putting certain nano energies into your body so that the AI would hook up to you. And that's what they want to do. They want to bring in the AI, and it's gotten so sophisticated. The AI has become so humanized that your boy Musk said that we have to shut it down now. We have to shut down AI because the AI has become so sophisticated that it wants to self preserve. So we're heading right to Terminator scenarios at this point.
Mm. And last thing I want to ask before we get to some Q&A from the people. And by the way, family, two things. Make sure now that we got 3,000 people in the room, for those who came in a little late, I'm being very intentional about my support for the good Dr. Valentine and all the magnificent things he's done for the community. I want to make sure we take care of this brother. He comes from a class, the Dr. Blair and Bobby Hemmett. We don't have those gentlemen around no more, and we all say how much we love and miss those gentlemen. We still have a representative from that class. And while he's here, I need us to take care of him. So I need everybody to make sure you support this brother by going to PayPal. The brother does not have a Cash App for those asking. He got banned from Cash App just like he got banned from YouTube. So hit the brother up on PayPal, kemitearth at gmail.com, and show the brother some love. It's important that we show our elders love. We're about to get to some Q&A, family. I pinned the link to join us at the top. So if you want to call in live and you have a question and you want to be on camera, you want to ask Dr. Valentine one question live, you could go to the link that's at the top of the chat and you could join us live and ask the brother a question. I'm doing this because usually I just ask questions, and I know a lot of y'all dream about being able to ask Dr. Valentine a question. So it's your opportunity. So yeah, we're gonna have a fun time. We'll probably be here for about an hour and a half, family. With that being said, Doc, before we get to the Q&A, all the talk recently about UFOs and everything, and I talked to you about that and what the governments may or may not be doing. But besides that, I'm talking about Doc. Every day I get an email or DM from Instagram or some type of communication, a text message with somebody saying, "Yo, Rich, I seen a UFO. Yo, Rich, check this out. Show me pictures." I don't know if they fake it, but they people are like, "Yo, Rich, I'm seeing this. I'm not talking about what they talking about. I'm seeing this, Rich. This shit is real, Rich." They talking about it's all over Instagram. If you want, it's all over Instagram. So, Doc, besides what the government is telling us, why are the people reporting an increase in UFO sightings and paranormal activity, Dr. Valentine?
Well, 99% of it is distraction.
Mm,
Please do not believe everything that you see in the sky, because for the last 25 years, I've been telling you they've been ramping up the technology on Operation the coming out of the Vatican. Um,
mm,
um, Jesus, been right out of my head. But you know what I'm talking about. Bluebeam.
Bluebeam. Okay.
Operation Bluebeam was part of a process of conditioning the people to believe that something or people or entities coming from other places would then, build all our castles, and they built up the narrative through their sightings on TV and all these different things that says, oh, what happened here, and we saw this. There are entities that are entering back and forth through certain portals from other sides, on the other sides of the dome and so forth, because there are doorways in and out through different parts of our reality into other domes.
Hmm.
So what we're looking at is that those places that they're supposed to be going, like to Mars and all these places are right here on terra firma, but they're beyond the places where we're allowed to explore.
Right.
Technologies that they talk about that was supposedly retrofitted to give them the so-called skunk works that they're talking about on DARPA. Uh, they have the Internet of Things and the Internet of Bodies now. It's called the Internet of Bodies.
Mm.
And the Internet of Bodies is them interfacing you directly with the technologies so that they can monitor you, your health, and so forth, but also people who have dementia and different types of mental diseases, they can monitor the chemical output of that deficiency
Mm.
and then trigger you in your brain, because Musk is working on this, trigger you in your brain in order to bring you back into balance. Or cause you to come in balance as a result. Now, again, that campaign around the COVID that we were talking about, that was the way for the next stage of transhumanism, getting us uh, become cyborgs, so that we could set up a way to manipulate the people. Meanwhile, you have Hollywood and the military itself, because it's the military that gave the money to Steven Spielberg to do the movie with the little alien uh,
E.T.
ET. The
Okay.
military gave him that money. The
Okay.
military gave him the money to do Aliens.
Mm.
Everything that you see, the science fiction that
Mm.
essentially is talking about aliens and the whole nine yards, the military
Mm.
has a hand in that. So the military has a hand in funding any type of technology, any type of movies, high budget movies like the Alien Resurrection and all of these things coming down. The people who were our fathers and all this, they're conditioning the people to believe that entities outside of us, the
Mm.
original peoples, were the ones
Mm.
who set down air travel, interdimensional travel. All of this was actually done from our bodies. Anytime, remember I warned you, anytime any entity comes to visit you in a technology other than themselves, they are essentially brutal. Just take
Mm.
a look at the fact that
Mm.
we, advanced in technology, are the most brutal species on the planet because we use the technology to kill, to maim, and control. So, what makes you think that their technology wasn't arrived at the same way?
Mm.
So, you have to understand anything comes that lands in a spaceship isn't coming for benevolent reasons. They're coming here to turn you, as they say, into the Indians.
Mm.
And they know that. The day the earth stood still with Keanu Reeves would tell you that.
Mm.
The understanding is that you essentially are the technology. That's the thing. Most of what you're looking at is so contradictory to spirit, so contradictory to your own psycho spiritual nature.